We started with wanting to investigate how our relationship between people, space and nature are very much influenced by how we live together. It seems that the most appropriate way to respond to Hashinsaki's questions was to honor the projects and the thought experiments by architects and creatives in Singapore who have sought to address this in innovative and provocative ways. They inspire us to think of creative ways of organizing ourselves to form networks of connectedness and sharing. The 16 projects led to the manifestation of the 4 themes that structure the overall flow of the exhibition. The sharing of communal spaces comes very naturally for Singaporeans when 80% of our population lives in housing developed by the government. The spatial typology of the hawker center and the living or dining room of a public housing flat act as a frame for introducing the very unique mode of gathering and coexistence in Singapore. We wanted to translate the spatial setting of communal dining into an exhibition space where people could have a seat and share in the stories from architectural projects that are from all over Singapore. The exhibition is a showcase of projects that demonstrate distinctive traits of Singapore's intangible and tangible cultural heritage. In addition to build work, we wanted to include speculative projects that push the limits of architectural imagination. It was important to consider how we live together not just in the present, but in the past and future as well. And not just between us, but also with nature and other species like cat, a common domestic animal in Singapore. What we have uncovered is an established complex social and ecological collection, mutually supporting and influencing one another. If our happiness is dependent on the relationship with people, then the design of everyday environments needs to celebrate such human agreement. The design of the Singapore Pavilion was envisioned as a platform for the convivial gathering of ideas and conversations raised by the projects. The events of the past years since the postponement of the Biennale has given us the opportunity to rethink designing spaces for sustainable sharing that considers limited resources and uncertain future. Built spaces transmit and preserve shared values, practices and history. They are cultural legacies that we pass on to the next generation. How can these new spaces bring about a more resilient, inclusive and equitable society? How architects will respond to the challenges and opportunity resulting from the pandemic is anyone's guess. One thing for certain, it requires a mindset change. However, in our response, we can encourage architects to broaden their roles in society in advocating and shaping a new culture of sharing, designing and living together.